If you make melodies in FL Studio and you get stuck, this video is for you. I'll explain why you get stuck. So the reason we get stuck in FL Studio is because we keep using the same key, the same scale, and we're not drawing on the different emotions we can pull from those scales and keys. Let me show you an example. So most people, now here's a good melody. Let's start with a good melody. Okay, so we're writing in a higher critical band for that top line. Now, most people, when they write melodies, they'll just write it this way by default. And they'll just kind of play whatever. Now, that sounded good because I spaced my fingers out the proper way. What happens is we're using the same C major scale over and over and over and over and over again. So in FL Studio, if you click here, for your typing keyboard icon, you could right click and you could change the actual scale. Now, you may not know which scale to use. There's a lot of scales that give you different vibes. Even this one says Japanese. Sounds a lot like a blues scale. Okay, but if you go to where it says major, which most people focus on C major, you'll play all the keys in the actual scale. And if you go to major pentatonic, you'll get a more melodic approach because it's only 5 notes in the major pentatonic scale. And it's more melodic. Okay, so another thing you could do here if you get stuck is right click and change your actual root note. We get in the habit of writing in C major and we forget there's other keys out there, other scales we could tap into. So my favorite thing to do is write in C major if you struggle, or write in A natural minor and then transpose the key. Let me give an example. So we're going to start with some chords first because chords give the context for the actual melodic structure. And it adds a little bit more meaning to it without going too deep into the woods about explaining why. But I will explain why in my new course called Music Theory Magic. If you go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic, I'll send you not only a chord code chart, a scale code chart, a mode code chart for free, and more trainings for free. But the main course that actually gets into the depth of all this stuff, I will guide you through what creates emotion in your music. Now, most people, they'll teach you just simple triads like this. You're like, why don't my melodies sound good? Well, one, you're writing very bland chord progressions to begin with. You're using 3 notes. Now, there's a way to spice this up and make it more gospel. Okay, and I'll explain that in the course. But what we're going to do here is write a chord progression I would actually write, and then we'll write a melody over top of that. So let's make this a little more exotic. And I'm going to take these notes and move them. Then we're going to land on C minor ninth at the end. Now it has more soul to it. Now we're playing all at the same velocity. You can use the humanize tool here to add a little more humanism, if that's even a word. And highlight the notes, hit Control, hit Alt L. Make sure only with time selection is on. So if you have any overlapping notes, you got to fix those. Okay, now you have a more realistic sound. And when I was writing melody, what you heard earlier with me in the major pentatonic, the reason it sounded good is because I'm playing in a higher register. So let's record this. Okay, and using the major pentatonic, you can't really play the wrong note. But notice I'm in a whole different octave and a whole different register. And you can play it by hand, so you have that human timing. So again, a lot of the mistake in your FL Studio melodies, and the reason you're not taking your melodies all the way up to the top is because you're trying to write in this small zone, and you're trying to have everything do everything in this zone. So what you can do here is right click and you can actually change your octave. So now I'm in the bass octave. Okay, so let's record a bass octave now. Okay, so now we have 3 different sections, a top section, a middle section, and a bottom section. And now all these add up to this more complex melody. Now going back to the key transposition I was speaking about earlier, most of us get stuck writing in C major, but I just showed you how you can write in C major and still sound really organic. But what you can do if you get stuck is simply change your key. So let's change this key. Let's drop it down a semitone, hitting shift down. You could also hit shift up to raise it up. Now we get a whole different vibe. Magical. Okay, so that's how you add magic to your music. If you want to learn more, just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. What I'll do is I'll play kind of amateur chords, and chords are important because they create context. Without chords, you're really going to not have this expressive emotion. It gets a little more complex when you add chords. Let's go from amateur chords all the way to super complex melody. So it grows, as you can see, over time. And that's what I'll show you in this course, how to go from this on the left, this puny kind of basic chord progression, to a whole section with its own melody, chord progression, and a bass line. So again, go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. And you got to grab it before the price goes up after this weekend, because this is the launch weekend and the price is going to go up after this weekend. That's the basic triad. This is the more advanced triad. That's somebody who knows theory. Here's a basic melody. Then here's more advanced. I want to loop that because it just sounds so good. Let's loop that. Let's hear that twice. It's so good we got to hear it twice. So if you want to learn this music theory, I need you guys to go to the website below. I'll leave a link in the YouTube description and in the comments. Music that moves the soul. That's how you add emotion to your music. I go through it step by step in the new course, so no worries if I went a little too fast here. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. And you can impress your friends with this, because now you can take your puny melodies and chords that sound like this and get the knowledge and wisdom to now you can apply it and get hands on it. I have MIDI as well that you can just drag and drop. And I don't just tell you what to do, I teach you why it works. We go into the magical roots of music theory. It gets really deep. So just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.